Yeah, so this podcast is all about bucket list animals. So, pretty much my personal bucket list and some awesome safaris or bucket list animals that should be on every safari adventures list. Of course, there are a lot of you out there that may beg to differ. However, each to their own, right? But this is kind of a little bit of an interesting podcast because I've never really deep dived into what I would truly want to hunt one day. And this was a little bit of a self journey experiment for me as well. So I'm looking forward to this one. So without further ado, let's get into it. So diving into this episode, I realized very quickly that I needed to figure things out not based on just a species of animal that I would love to hunt, right? There's a couple of different avenues that us as hunters, and we like to look at ourselves as conservationists. It's kind of a rabbit hole we go down, right? It's part of the adventure. It's part of who we are. It's part of initiating our primal instincts along the way. And I must say, this was one very enjoyable experience, and I highly recommend that if you are an avid hunter, no matter how many times you've been to different countries across the world, just sit down and put a pen to paper and actually just figure out, well, hang on, yeah, what are my bucket list species that you would love to hunt, and take the complete cost completely out of it, because it is quite a fun exercise, right? Yes, you do look at the end of it and say, well, just maybe I've selected 5 of the most expensive animals on planet Earth to hunt, but who cares? You're putting this down, you're putting it down on pen and paper, and hopefully one day you've got like a little visualization board if you've had these thoughts, and I believe it may come to light, I guess. So like I said, this was a very much a personal journey of mine, and I was very, very grateful that I got the fortunate opportunity to do this. And I along the way, it took me about 6 or 7 days. Along the way, I had different discussions with a bunch of different people that have gone to certain places and hunted. And there are 2 very important things that I've realized: that it's incredible as hunters, we have this unique opportunity to experience different cultures and avenues around the world through something we enjoy doing. But it's something that is embedded in all of us, right? It's a primal instinct, and every single one of us, any part of the human race across the board, has somewhere along the walk of life experience some sort of primal activation, or whatever it may be within yourself. And realizing that these are all just instincts that have been embedded in us, that are part of our genetic database. And it's really, really cool that we get to want to experience these different cultures and stuff through something that we love so dearly, and understand that not only will this be an incredible adventure, a journey, a story, but also we're playing a very crucial part in conservation. So yeah, without further ado, so I've broken it down into a couple of different avenues, right? So firstly, I'm going to mention my top 5 species that I would like to hunt. Then I'll go to top 5 places to hunt, because they don't necessarily have to line up, right? There might be some that will line up. And then probably one of the more important avenues that I believe as hunters, what we need to explore a little bit more, and I see it's a habit that has crept into the industry very nicely. It's slowly progressed, and I hope through conversations on the podcast and stuff like that we've experienced cultures. So these are the top 5 different cultures, and then we'll wrap it all up, and I will give my final thoughts. So at number 5, so from my least priority to my number 1 priority, well, number 1 ultimate hunt on a bucket list. So my number 5 is a Cape buffalo. Now, a lot of people would say, well, why isn't this number 1? So here's the thing. I've been very, very fortunate to being able to hunt these beasts for little more than, call it, I've been a professional hunter now for 15 years, so call it a little bit more than 12 years I've been able to hunt these magnificent animals, the Black Death, the animals that tear fear into not only us as human beings, but also some carnivores out there. And it's an overwhelming experience when you get into a very dark space with a buffalo, when you're staring down the Black Death, a big buffalo bull. He's got nowhere else to go but head straight through you. You sense it, right? The adrenaline pumps through you. There was a point in my career where I'll never forget it. It was Derek. I'm not going to mention his surname because a lot of people know who he is, but he hunted this Cape buffalo with a handgun, right? And there was this one specific bull we were after in a certain area of the concession, and we spent probably about good of 3 days hunting this bull down. A lone bull, never made it into the herd, never really settled down, and he was just absolutely fearless. He had our number, we had his number, but what made it even more difficult is we were hunting with a handgun. Now, my Cape buffalo, I would love to shoot with a bow. Now, those of you that have been following my journey would understand that my very first bow session I've had was all in preparation for Cape buffalo. Now, I've been very fortunate that Grizzly Slick came on board, and of course Magnum Archery have supported me in this adventure. So this is, so far we're on year, this will be the 3rd year of preparation. I am just unfortunately just not 100% confident just yet. The opportunities have presented themselves in the past year, but we're getting there. So Buffalo Bull, number 5. It's, yeah, going back to Derek's story, on day 3 of the hunt, we're staring down this bull and we get up onto this dam wall. He doesn't know we're there, but the minute the wind turns and he gets a whiff of us, he sets sail straight for us. And whatever it may have been, I never pulled off a shot, Derek never pulled off a shot, but whatever deterred him or turned him just before the wall, the dam wall, I still, to this day, I don't know what it was. But that was an experience I'll never, ever forget. Look, I've seen a lot of hair-raising experiences when it comes to buffalo. A lot I don't think I should be mentioning on this podcast. But yeah, it's not an animal to take lightly. So buffalo bull will definitely be number 5, and I'm glad there's an African species in the top 5 on my bucket list. And then coming in at number 4, red stag. Now, red stag could be anywhere from New Zealand, Argentina, to Ireland, Scotland, those sort of places. I am a huge fan of deer species. I'm a massive fan of a red stag. I've been very fortunate in Spain to have hunted one, a nice old bull, and I was very, very fortunate. And I managed to absorb that experience, although it was through a Monteria, and a Monteria is not everyone's kettle of fish, and that is a discussion I hope to have a little bit later in the season as far as hunting tactics and techniques and all that sort of stuff are concerned. However, red stag for me, an ultimate red stag, big, beautiful crown, would be the ultimate experience. Number 3, of course, will be a mountain lion. Now, back in 2018 or 2017, I want to say it was, I was very, very fortunate to be invited. My uncle went up to Utah and he acquired a mountain lion tag, and we went up to Utah, and that was one hell of an experience. Look, I'm not, again, every single hunt to their own. I'm not a big dog hunter. I support what the guys do. I think it's an incredible art and technique that dog handlers have, and the capabilities that they have to be able to handle these dogs and get them to take scent and really just understand. I think it's a beautiful work of art. I think when you watch that, it's an experience just on its own. And I was very fortunate to be there for that. And you're traveling in like waist deep snow, and you're battling over fences. You're not quite sure what's underneath you. You're on snowmobiles the 1 minute, and then the next minute you're hiking up these vast, steep cliff canyons, and you get into these positions, and you can hear the dogs howling. The adrenaline's pumping through you. You're wading through the snow with your rifle, and for me, I never got to see much of the actual physical hunt, but to be able to watch it from a distance was an experience that lived very, very long in my memory. And yes, that's why it earns number 3 in the bucket list. I think a mountain lion is beautiful. I think the way the cats are structured is just absolutely mind-blowing. For me, it's definitely it's a controversial animal. I think any cat has its controversies. However, I think good ethical management of these sort of species is so important before it gets taken away from us. And we've seen that on a number of occasions, Cecil the lion, and the list goes on. However, mountain lion for me is still one of the most beautiful animals, and I think hunting them in deep snow, it's got to be snowy conditions. That would be the ultimate, right? Again, just being able to watch those dogs maneuver and pick up scent and all that sort of stuff, and it's an art. The guys that are guiding those specific hunts, I mean, really know what they're doing. They fit, they ethical. Majority of them. Look, I've heard some horrific stories, but of course, in any sort of industry, there are. Then number 2, a big old grizzly bear. Now, for a while, for a long period of time, I was in 2 minds about a grizzly bear, right? Even a black bear. I've been very fortunate in my career to have hunted a lot of the more beautiful species of animals. Now, for me, a bear is just one of the most uniquely beautiful animals. As much as they can tear you apart in one single swipe, I just think a bear has such a unique beauty about it. And I mean, I've hunted everything from elephant to rhino to lion, leopard, quite a number of beautiful species. And for me, a bear was just one of those animals that I looked at and I was like, I don't know if I could quite do this. The same way as I do with a rhino, and in the back of my mind, how important it is to be able to do it, but in essence, you look at it and you say, I'm not quite sure if I'll be able to. However, being involved with the American community, and the bear is almost a celebrated animal. It's a celebrated species. I mean, the Indians used to celebrate them when they hunted them and did all those sort of things. And a bear has slowly crept into the list. And I guess it's a species I look at and say, okay, look, that takes a lot of skill, a lot of patience, a lot of perseverance. I'll be very happy to hunt that animal. I don't have to do it a number of times, just once, but I would be very, very happy and fortunate. I'll feel very grateful for being able to have the opportunity to hunt a nice big grizzly bear, no matter where it may be. Look, I'll get into the places to hunt a little bit later, and you'll see why. And then my ultimate species to hunt, and I think it's deserved because it's more about the experience, and and this is one thing about all these animals that I've put on here, is that I've highlighted a lot to do with the experience of things. And for me, hunting a big bull elk in archery season, when I can hear it echo or bugle its beautiful tune through those pine forests, that for me would be the utmost ultimate. I would love to hunt a big bull elk in archery season to be able to either call it in or have somebody call it in for me and experience that whole bugling way of how they do things. For me, I mean, I've watched endless amounts of Steve Ranella's, Remy Warren, Joe Rogan, all these guys head into these fortresses and how they battle it out with the bugle and call these magnificent bull in. And I get buck fever. So I get intense buck fever. And I've seen a lot of guys come over here and get buck fever on like big kudu bulls and big buffalo and stuff like that. But for me, I mean, that would be the ultimate. Look, I've had some beautiful hunting experiences. Last year, the Fellow Deer Rat was next level. Craddock area, it was unbelievable experience. So, I mean, I've been very, very fortunate in my hunting career, but I think as it stands right of now, to experience that bull elk bugle through those pine forests would be just the ultimate. And I've read books. Like I said, I watch YouTube episodes. I just love that type of hunt. I think it's so beautifully unique. There's quite a bit of stalking from what I've seen. I've never experienced this. So from what I've seen, it kind of like your stalking technique and stuff is irrelevant. So you could be the best possible stalker, but you've also got to be able to call those animals in. There's a whole array of techniques and on primal hunting instincts that are embedded in us that we've got to utilize now to get these animals to come out and from using the antlers to crack against the bushes, and that for me would be the ultimate. So my bucket list animal is I hope one day, even if I just get the opportunity just to be there for a hunt like that, will be the ultimate. So we keep trying. My good friend, old Zach Parkman, he's going to be coming out now in July, and I'm going to knuckle him down and say, listen, we need to get this drawing system, this tag system. I need to be involved somewhere, somehow. So, hopefully we can nail it down and get going on that. So yeah, guys, that's my list of bucket list species I would like to hunt. As of now, look, this changes on a yearly basis, right? So, but for me to actually sit at a desk and say, okay, look, these are my 5 priority animals. Not 5 priority, these are my 5 animals I would love to hunt and have those sort of experience. So number 5 is Cape Buffalo, number 4 Red Stag, number 3 Mountain Lion, number 2 Grizzly Bear, and number 1 the big old bull elk. No matter where it may be, Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, Utah, wherever it is, I think it will be an amazing experience. So then, which brings me to my top 5 places to hunt. And now, this is all just purely based on YouTube, watching a lot of YouTube. I have experienced certain places. I've been very, very fortunate to either be there as a skivvy hunt, but not actually physically. So this is me physically being there to hunt an animal. So my number 5 will be Tajikistan. What I've heard, I've seen footage of snow leopard. I've seen herds of Marco Polo. So for me to be able to go over there and hunt either a Marco Polo or a Nubian Ibex or something like that would be the ultimate experience. And also to dig deep. I'm a person, obviously, with where my mental health has been. I love a challenge, right? So I've heard that Tajikistan, how do I say this? Tajikistan is a pinnacle, right? So they hunt in high altitudes, and often hunters experience a lot of altitude sickness. So for me to be able to be put into difficult situations and being able to come out of that would be a very important one. I've been very, very, so that's number 5. Number 4, I've been very, very fortunate to experience both of these countries, Zambia and Tanzania. I think when it comes to these 2 countries, either one of them, they've just got so much to offer. Like I said in numerous amounts of podcasts, I'm biased to the Eastern Cape. I think Eastern Cape in the world is still one of the greatest hunting destinations from what I have experienced. But Zambia and Tanzania have just got the vast vastness, and they've got different variables, right? If you can travel a couple of hours and be in a completely different plane to what you were the day before, or forestry areas and stuff like that, hunting along the riverbanks and all that. There's also it's been a massive dream destination for me to be able to hunt. I've been very fortunate. I haven't professional hunted over there. I've been part of a couple of hunts as like a skivvy hunter, which I've been very fortunate to follow along. And I experienced a lot. I experienced some beautiful moments over there with different tribes, the Maasai and all that. But this was a very special part of Africa for me, and I would love to go back there and experience it on a hunt. Number 3, and this ties in with the grizzly bear, and of course there's various different beautiful species that side. There's moose, there's some really good fishing in the rivers, but I would love to experience Alaska, more specifically maybe Kodiak Island, just for the popularity it has and the name it has. I think as a hunter, even if you don't hunt those places, just to go there and experience the culture and experience the people and understand why hunting was such an important tool or facility for the locals that side back in the day would really mean a lot to me. So I would love to go to Alaska, but more specifically Kodiak Island, just even if it is just a day trip. But I think Alaska is just beautiful. No matter where you go there, it's just an absolutely magnificent piece of land. Number 2, Mongolia. There's a reason why I've mentioned Mongolia, and I'll get to it a little bit later in my cultural experience. But Mongolia, the vast landscapes, look, it's the country. I read somewhere the other day, it's the country with the least amount of population per square meterage. I think the people of Mongolia are very special individuals. I think they're unique. There's a rich history there. I think Genghis Khan is actually from that sort of era. But the way they hunt is very special. The hunting culture there is unique, and you could be from rolling hills to rugged mountainsides in a very short space of time. They've got the Marco Polo there. They've got a couple of ibexes. They've got some Arctic foxes. So I would love to experience Mongolia. And then number 1 is I've put it down here as Greenland or Alaska for the caribou migration. Now, Greenland has a caribou migration, and so does Alaska. Now, for me, it doesn't really matter, either one of them. I just think the caribou migration, from what I have seen on TV, is a very unique. Africa, we've got the Great Migration, where you've got the canoes heading through, and there's buffalo, there's elephant, there's all that sort of stuff. I think that in itself is something very special to witness. But the reason why I mentioned Alaska and Greenland was because I wanted to go over there and experience what significance that played, not only in the hunting culture, but in the hunting facilities, but also what it played for those sort of communities. Were communities and areas and towns based off of those migrations that important, So for me, that was one of them. So to cut it off again, or to top it off again, top 5 places to hunt: Tajikistan. And I need to start saying it slower. When I say it fast, it sounds like I'm fucking speaking Chinese or something. So Tajikistan, Zambia, Tanzania, Kodiak Island in Alaska, Mongolia, and then Alaska or Greenland for the caribou migration. Then, top 5 hunting cultures to experience. Now, again, I've been very fortunate not only to go over to different countries and experience those cultures, but also to have those hunters from those countries come over, spend time with me, and I've inherited, or I've learned a lot from what I've experienced from them. So my number 5 in hunting cultures is Hungary. I'm not quite sure what happened there. Switched over memory cards. So I had early parts of my hunting career. I remember these 2 Hungarians coming over. I was very fortunate. All they wanted to do was hunt warthog. That was their ultimate. They just wanted to walk around and shoot as many warthogs as they possibly could. And and it was a really cool experience. The way they treated the animals, they treated the hunt with utmost respect was something very, very special for me. And I learned a lot from them. I learned a lot of different hunting techniques. I understood a pig a lot more because they hunt European wild boars like it's going out of fashion. They also have some absolute dinosaurs of fallow deers, which I would love to experience. So I think Hungary has a very, very rich hunting culture over there. And it's one that's been built on respect and tradition, which I would love to experience. Number 4, will be Mongolia. Now, this is where it gets good. So Mongolia have got this really cool tradition where they hunt with golden eagles. Now, that is something a lot of people have deemed unethical, but it's been going for generations. And of course, I mean, golden eagles don't give a shit what us as human beings think. That's how they hunt their prey. But the Mongolians have just utilized this to their benefit, and they've driven it and enriched it in their culture of hunting. And it's a very, very unique and special way that they've handled things, which to me, honestly, I think is one of the coolest things ever. It might not be everyone's cup of tea at the end of the day, which a lot of different hunting techniques are, but to be able to go over there and experience it and understand what it's all about will be something very, very special. And diving into the cultures of, drinking the soup and understanding what all of that sort of stuff means before, just purely based on some of the videos I've watched. It will be something I would love to experience. At number 3, Spain. Now, I've been very, very fortunate to go over to Spain. I had an issue with with Spanish culture, with Spanish hunting culture. But I realized very, very quickly it was a very small minority, and it actually didn't boil down to the Spanish hunting culture at all. It was just purely the Spanish outfitters and Spanish agents that were bringing these clients over to the ones that I had experienced. They were very hard-headed, set in their ways, completely opposite to what I had experienced when I was over there hunting. The Spanish people are beautiful, understanding, healthy, cultural, traditional human beings when it comes to hunting. Now, I was very, very fortunate to experience a Monteria. Now, for me, a Monteria is something steeped in tradition. Again, not everyone's cup of tea. I personally don't enjoy sitting in a stand having animals driven towards me, but I did have a lot of fun. I had a hell of a lot of fun, and something I would definitely do again for the better understanding of why they do it. And it was an experience in its own. The food, the tradition, the prayer, the sequence of events that happen, from dog handlers to guards, professional hunters, outfitters, lodging. It was just an incredible experience, and I would love to do it again. So for me, I felt like I experienced a very small part of the Spanish hunting culture, and I would love to experience more. So that is number 3. Number 2, a good old traditional UK bird hunt. Now, I've been very, very fortunate to guard a lot of game wardens or gamekeepers in the UK. Some brilliant gentlemen. They really are. They some of the most charismatic. They just incredible individuals. And they've told me about these magnificent bird hunts that these guys go on, from drinking sloe gin to teasing one another at the mud hut or whatever it's called, where the beaters go afterwards and have a good time. And for me, the whole experience, and I love watching working dogs, and I think with them having those dogs work along the way, I think that would be a really, really special cultural experience into hunting, and why the traditional UK bird hunters plays such a pivotal role in hunting in the UK. It's a very, very special moment. And then finally, my number one is the USA. Look, I think what I experienced in Maryland will sit with me for a very, very long time. I managed to meet the ordinary run-of-the-mill hunter, the guy that's going out there to shoot a deer, to fill his freezer. He's experiencing every single minute of it. He loves that side of things. He doesn't like the hustle and bustle, the fame, the chasing, the YouTube episode or anything like that. He's just a good, ethical, modern-day hunter. His dad has hunted those lands for generations. He's doing the same now. He sits around a campfire on a Saturday night at a barbecue and talks about his experience. I think the USA have got such incredible individuals in the hunting industry. From Steve Rinella, Joe Rogan, to Remy Warren, and then everyone else. I think the way the USA depict themselves across to the world as hunters is a very unique and a very special way that they do so. They love it. They absolutely love it. I mean, my good friend Pat, who's been on this podcast a number of times, he loves sitting me down. He phoned me just the other day about all the auction hunts he's bought, and he's so passionately excited about what he's achieved in his hunting career and being able to carry on doing it. It's such a unique way, and I think the richness, when I talk about culture, the rich cultural hunting, because America is not a very old country, but the rich culture it has inherited through hunting, through the locals, it's a very, very special one. And I think, although I've been a professional hunter for 15 years, and probably 90% of the hunters that I've guided have all been American, I think I've only scratched the surface when it comes to hunting cultures in the USA. And I think I've still got a lot more time to be able to experience that. And I'm looking forward to it, from, as far as the Midwest to the western side of the US, spot and stalk hunts, tree stands, driven hunts. The passion that they show is just something very, very special, and I admire. I really do. So, guys, I've been waffling on now for a good 34 minutes. It looks like it. But yeah, once again, it was a humbling experience to be able to sit down and really just figure out, what does this all mean? Having a bucket list and being able to experience these magnificent parts of this beautiful world we have, and being able to picture and visualize myself hunting the vast areas of the corner of the from the darkest corner of the earth to the lightest pinnacle of it, So it's been a very cool experience, and I think this time last year I was in the hustle and the bustle of the show season and stuff, and I've really been able to sit down and really put together a couple of good thoughts and understand where my career is at this point, and I'm very, very fortunate. So I look forward to sharing a lot more of these kind of episodes with you guys. But so yeah, guys, my final thoughts is, I feel as a hunter, it's our responsibility to be able to highlight some unique opportunities we have in this world, to go and share different hunting cultures and to share our knowledge across this industry that has been masked with controversy. And it's our responsibility to highlight the benefits of having so many different hunting cultures, so many beautiful opportunities in different hunting areas that we get to hunt, and of course, the massive diversity of species we have, not just in Africa, not just in South Africa, but in the world as a whole. And more so now, the world is connected better than it ever has. And we are fortunate enough to watch these sort of things unfold and unravel in front of our eyes on places like Carbon TV, YouTube, and different avenues like that. And I would encourage each and every single hunter out there to do a little bit of homework, to understand a little bit more, and realize that it's our responsibility, if we are going to take this industry forward, see it from a conservation point of view, and understand we need every single one of us to invest in the same patterns that we believe would drive this industry forward, and not seen in such a negative light as what it has been over the past couple of years. So that is it from me. A good 37 minutes. I would appreciate you guys, if you do enjoy this episode, please hit the thumbs up, turn on the notifications, and interact. It all helps for the algorithm, and it helps me to expand my show as much as I possibly can, so I can keep doing this. It keeps driving me forward, and I appreciate every little bit, because every little bit counts. So for myself, if you are, happy hunting. Until then, stay safe, stay blessed, stay humble. We'll catch up with you guys soon.